violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's a Black Gen Z mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
The family of a double amputee who was shot and killed by Huntington Park police filing a claim ahead of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the city and its police department. Anthony Lowe's family says he was out of his wheelchair and moving away from officers when he was killed. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes has the latest.
Family members of Anthony Lowe point to this bystander video captured moments before he was shot to prove he was not a threat.
Oh, Lord. I mean, he had stabbed somebody earlier. He had the knife in his hand. Looked like he turned around. I mean, I'm going to keep it a buck. This is wild. This is wild.
News reporter Rob Hayes has the latest.
Family members of Anthony Lowe point to this bystander video captured moments before he was shot to prove he was not a threat.
You can tell that he was in fear for his life. You know, he had no legs.
Ebonique Simon is the mother of Lowe's teenage son. She says Lowe had recently lost both his legs below the knees and that he was suffering from depression.
Damn.
He was in Huntington Park last Thursday in his wheelchair when police officers shot and killed him.
So he was suffering depression. Look, bruh. This was, in my opinion, this was obviously assisted self-deletion. I'm going to just keep it a buck. This looks like, to me, assisted self-deletion because he was suffering depression. He just recently lost his legs. He's feeling some type of way about it. He goes and, you know, stabs an innocent bystander and then, you know, gets into it with the police. Now, did they have to shoot him? Probably not. I don't know, though, because when he turned around, it looked like he was finna sling that knife. So, I mean, technically it is a justified shooting, but, I mean, whew, what a way to go.
Let's call it what it is. It's a straight murder.
But investigators say officers were called to the scene because Lowe had just stabbed a man, and that when police found Lowe, he was wielding a 12-inch butcher knife.
Yeah.
That when he refused to drop the knife, officers...
And that's where he went wrong. Then when they say drop the knife, you drop it. Like, why are you running? Bro, drop the knife.
Tased him twice, and when Lowe again threatened them with the knife, they opened fire. The Huntington Park Police Department declined our request for interviews. And while there is no body cam video of the shooting, attorneys for Lowe's family say investigators refused to release surveillance video from a local business that shows the deadly encounter.
Why is it that they only have access to all the evidence in this case when the family, the most important people in this case, have not seen it?
The LA County Sheriff's Department is heading up the investigation into the officer-involved shooting. Lowe's family has little faith in that probe.
Is there really a question whether a double amputee who's hobbling on his legs away from the officers, not near a single person, is a real threat to someone?
Now, Lowe's family is pushing LA County District Attorney George Gascon to prosecute the officers involved in the shooting. They plan on holding a demonstration in front of his office tomorrow.
The family of a double amputee shot and killed by Huntington Park police is demanding justice. Anthony Lowe Jr. was holding a knife when officers opened fire last week.
Well, tonight, Lowe's family wants those officers to face charges. KCAL News reporter Joy Benedict spoke to his family.
It's an alarming video, to say the least, as a double amputee is seen trying to get away from police, flashing a butcher knife. But what happened next had his family in tears.
My son was murdered.
That's right.
I don't want nobody to react on it. I just want y'all to get justice.
Dorothy Lowe's son, Anthony Lowe Jr., was shot and killed by Huntington Park police officers on Thursday, just moments after a passerby shot this video.
They refused to give everything that we need to know what really happened to him. He was not homeless, he was loved, and it's sad.
So they're saying he wasn't homeless. then what made him do this? I would say the depression, most likely. I would also, like to see if maybe he had previous charges, okay, to see, what type of person he really was. Obviously, he was very upset with his situation, not being able to walk anymore, having to hobble around on the nubs. I mean, that can be very depressing. So I definitely understand that, but why hurt somebody? If you want to take yourself out, why hurt somebody else? And what I'm thinking is, I don't know if he consciously thought of it in this way, but he might have just thought, hey, if I get deleted by the police, then I'll at least be able to give my family something when I pass. So I definitely think this was assisted self-deletion, especially when they mentioned the depression.
Really sad how these police are getting away with killing our African-American people, just getting away with
Lord
it.
have mercy.
He was in a wheelchair. What more could he do? What more could he do?
Investigators say
he could not stab random people in the street. That's what he could not have done. He probably should have done less, honestly.
He got a call at 3:45 Thursday afternoon by a man saying he was stabbed by another man in a wheelchair. When officers arrived, they say they found Lowe with a knife. They say he got out of his wheelchair.
So he literally picked up, he went from the knife being on the ground to picking it up and running with it.
With a knife. They say he got out of his wheelchair and attempted to get away. In a statement, the Huntington Park Police Department says officers tried twice to deploy tasers, but were unsuccessful in subduing Lowe.
So they tried the tasers, didn't work. They didn't want to get close to him because he had the blade, so what were they supposed to do? Just keep walking with him and watching him hobble out? I think they definitely could have de-escalated the situation further, but he did have a deadly weapon, and honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck. It's looking like a free body.
And after he continued to threaten officers with the knife, that's when they say an officer-involved shooting happened.
Be realistic about this. What could he have possibly done in the wheelchair?
Well, he wasn't in the wheelchair. He was hobbling around on the nubs. So if the police officers would have engaged him, he could have stabbed somebody up. Because, the lowest man wins, right? And he has the advantage of that. So it just doesn't make... What he did doesn't make sense at all. Okay? I really don't think these officers would or should be charged, Could they have practiced some more patience and just followed him while he hobbled around, huh? Maybe. Somebody could have caught him lacking and kicked him in the head or something. Or they could have tried to subdue him and got stabbed. You never know. So in the safety of the officers, they said, hey, we tried everything. Time to put him down.
We want justice.
And answers, as friends and family say they have heard little from the police department or the LA County Sheriff, which is assisting in the investigation.
You guys knew that your lives wasn't in danger? He's running on his limbs. How cold-hearted could they be?
And while this family struggles to make sense of their loss, they are remembering a father, brother, son, and friend.
He got a strong family that loves him. So I just want justice. We want justice for our whole family.
It's not clear if there was any body-worn camera or dash camera footage from the Huntington Police Department of this officer-involved shooting, but we have learned that at least one business up there on Slauson does have security footage of it. They say they shared that with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and they are not at this time willing to share it with us. Nonetheless, this investigation continues. From Huntington Park, I'm Joy Benedict, KCAL News.
Yeah, the family of Anthony Lowe says he was struggling after recently losing both his legs, but they say he was a loving son and a loving father of two, and they're now demanding answers. It's cell phone video that doesn't provide clear answers. You can hear the shots fired by police that killed double amputee Anthony Lowe, but you can't see him. Seconds later, he's on his stomach being handcuffed. At a news conference, his family says he was shot in the back, and because he had just lost both his legs, was no threat to the heavily armed Huntington Park police officers.
They murdered my son in a wheelchair with no legs. So they do need to do something about it. Because I want justice for my son.
Police say they were called out to Slauson Avenue last Thursday because Lowe had jumped out of his wheelchair and stabbed someone unprovoked, leaving that person in critical condition. You can see a large knife in his hand in this video. He runs from police and officers use tasers, but then an SUV blocks the view. Police say Lowe threatened to advance and throw his knife at them.
He's running on his limb. How cold-hearted could they be?
This is my twin. We did everything together, and they took everything from me.
The Huntington Park Police Department says the officers are now on paid administrative leave and referred all questions about the case to the LA County Sheriff's Department, which is now investigating.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad. It's a sad situation. It's sad that he chose to go out this way, but he was in the wrong, man. He was in the wrong. And this family owes that man that he stabbed an apology, point blank. So that's what they need to be getting to before any of this business. He stabbed somebody. So they owe that man an apology. And you know, he brought this on to himself.
Along with the DA's office, but the family wants the Attorney General to step in.
The Los Angeles Sheriff's.
Oh yeah, swinging that knife around. Yeah, I mean, that's a free body, it looks like.
Has their own house to get in order before they try to investigate any other departments.
It's not clear if there's body camera footage, but on the cell phone video, you can make out security cameras. There are also cars with drivers who may have seen what happened.
Now, we know that there are other cell phone videos out there, and the family is calling on the Huntington Park Police to release whatever footage they have gathered thus far. The city of Huntington Beach and the police department put out a press release saying they are committed to transparency, but also asking for the public's patience as this investigation is carried out. Live in Huntington Park, I'm Christy Fajardo. Let's send it back to you.
Yo, what's good, BGZM News 17 family? I'm at the corner of Jesse Jackson and Marcus Garvey, and I got some bad news for you. As you can see, I lost my job. I'm out here living in cardboard boxes outside of boarded up vacant homes. YouTube said I'm done getting money out here in these streets. They even took my funky ass suit. So anything right now would help. So go ahead and hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that GoFundMe, hell, cop the merch. Or if you want to make the long-term commitment to the Jinquavius Jackson Fund, join the Patreon so that I can continue to put out top-notch content each and every day. Also, check out the Rumble, where there is absolutely no censorship. Link in the description box below.
Hey, yo, ain't that nigga Jinquavius? Yo, I recognize.
No, that's not me no more.
Hey, yo, run your property.
Y'all tell me what they say.
Do the opposite of Antonio Brown and take
What
all your
more
store.
do you want from me?
It's important to note that this story is not about the fatal encounter Anthony Lowe had with police. This is about what led up to it. The stabbing of a man who was crossing the street when he and police say Anthony Lowe jumped out of his wheelchair and stabbed him. And today, for the first time in this exclusive report, he tells us his story.
So guys, this story actually went viral online. And it was just a clip of this amputee with half a body, I guess, hopping away with a knife, and the police clapped him. Well, now it's coming out that this guy actually stabbed somebody, and the police were defending themselves, doing the right thing.
I mean, I felt my heart literally come out of my chest. That's a scary moment for me.
Did you think you were going to die on that street?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Towards my injuries, yes, I did. seeing that blood gushing out from here. Yes, I did. I thought it was a goner right there.
His name is Ramiro, and speaking from his hospital bed in a trauma unit where he remains today, he talks about that fateful day he almost died at the hands of a stranger with a butcher knife, a man that he had never seen before.
Wow.
A man he now knows is Anthony Lowe.
Now, I understand him being in wheelchairs and everything, but why would he attack somebody like that? What's the reason for it?
Because he's out of his mind. Honestly, he was probably off something. A lot of these amputees, they can really get down on themselves, and they resort to drug usage, okay? And some of them are vets and all that kind of stuff, and I think that there should be resources to help them through what they're going through. But at the end of the day, a lot of these people, they're just high off drugs, and you take the same drug so many times, it's gonna mess with your brain chemistry. Now you're starting to do stupid things, crazy things, and be super paranoid.
The violent encounter caught on a surveillance camera. Here, an exclusive first look at what set off the chain of events.
Wow.
You can see Lowe in his wheelchair, moving up and down the street at the corner of Slauson and Santa Fe in Huntington Park. Moments later, Ramiro, in a white T-shirt, crosses the street. And in seconds, he says, his life forever changed.
Wow. So this man... straight sliced them. Let's run it back.
As I was...
T-shirt crosses the street, and in seconds, he says...
Oh my God. And he hopped off the wheelchair and is hopping around on them little nubs. Oh my God. See, and people protesting. Oh, the community is out of their freaking mind on this one. They think that this is an unjustified shooting. Look, bruh. That man deserved every bullet.
His life forever changed.
As I was crossing the street, I noticed halfway down the crossing the street, when the green light was on for me to cross the street, I noticed that he get off his wheelchair on his two stumps and takes about 3 or 4 steps and looks at me, but I didn't think nothing of it, right? So when we were at the same level as me and him on the side, he just told me, "Are you all right?" And I had my hand like this because I carry a black duffel bag. I turn around and look at him and I go, "Yes." And at that time, he just punched me, but I didn't see the knife on him.
Wow.
And I took 2 steps forward, and that's when I noticed the blood gushing out of my bottom of my armpit.
Ramiro thought he had been punched, but quickly realized he'd been stabbed with what turned out to be a 12-inch butcher knife, which punctured and collapsed his lung.
Woo! I mean, this guy's an animal. Stabbing random people. And you really have the community like crying about this. He was a bad person. Let's keep it a buck. Straight up. He was not a good person, bro. And he ended up, you know, reaping the consequences of his actions. So I'm going to need the community to take a chill pill on this one. I mean, the fact that you had this man... I mean, see, the family, they like to come on the back end when everything happens. Look, in a lot of families, they wash their hands with these dudes. But then on the back end, when something happens, now, you know, they're going to protest and da-da-da-da to get the check. And I understand that, but at least keep it a bean. At least keep it a buck and say, hey, yeah, he was in the wrong, but we still need that check because the shooting was unjustified, which technically it really wasn't unjustified. It doesn't matter if he is an amputee. He had a weapon. Okay, he had a weapon.
But doctors feared the knife had also hit his heart.
Those 4 hours was excruciating for me because it was either life or death or surgery, big surgery, major surgery. So when he came and he goes, "Oh, it's just a puncture lung," it was a blessing for me.
Ramiro, a man of faith, thanks God for what he calls a miracle. He also credits a kind stranger for calling 911 and the Huntington Park police officer he says saved his life by applying pressure to his wound and reassuring him he was going to be okay.
I think he did save my life by putting pressure on it and giving me those words of hope.
Oh, yeah.
What did he say to you?
He said that everything's going to be all right, you're going to make it. So I think those words are...
The cops are heroes in this story. End of discussion. The cops are heroes. because these super amputated gremlins are on demon time.
Or hope that he had faith on me that I was going to survive. And that gave me the spirit to fight and not think negative and think positive in a way that, okay, I'm going to make it through this. I'm going to make it through this. So I think he did save my life.
That is the physical part. Emotionally, it is another story. The warehouse worker and father of 4 struggles to understand why. It is something, he says, he did not deserve.
Just walking down the street, coming from looking for a job to try to survive and put money in my plate and provide for my family and get struck by a knife and almost lose my life. I don't think so.
Nope.
As for his attacker, Anthony Lowe, Ramiro says he holds no hate in his heart. But while he feels sorry for...
And see, that's the problem. We need to start holding some type of anger or something within us so that this doesn't happen again to somebody else. Because, having no hate in his heart, da-da-da-da. Look, man. We need to start getting mad about this stuff.
For his attacker's family, he has no compassion for the man he says almost killed him.
Nice.
I'm the victim here. I did not provoke the guy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Why should I feel compassion to someone that does things like that?
And again, it's important to note that Ramiro says he had never seen Anthony Lowe before the stabbing. His road to recovery is going to be a long one, and his family tells us they plan to start a GoFundMe account to help out. Once we have that link, we'll share it on our webpage, foxla.com.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.